Good morning, well, Merry Christmas. This is Pigsy doing another video. A few things, I guess. There's things on my mind. I think I've established that possibly I have some depression, even though when I went to the doctor and I couldn't sleep, he just said, oh, it's a low mood. But that's probably not true. I think maybe it is all in that spectrum of, well, usually it's triggers that you can't fix, and then you just deal with that shit, basically. But there's other things as well. There's a need to kind of belong or connect at some level, and you kind of feel different in yourself. As a bloke, I'm quite happy with my own time. So I think what I'm doing is re-establishing things I used to do, patterns and so on, and that'll probably start making me just feel more myself. But at the moment, you don't feel like who you really are. It's very weird. I was taking some valerian root to help me sleep, I thought. However, it's not that good. It seems to repress my breathing and cause me some health issues. I don't know if I'm allergic to valerian root, but the extract is quite powerful, and it's just to be a fair warning. However, it does say only take one tablet. I took two. I think I thought, oh, I'm 6'1", I probably could do 2 of them. Just knocked me out really. And no, so I've had this thing where I felt like I've got breathing issues, and then I thought, well, maybe I've got TB in my lung or something. I'll have to sort it out. I've got some silver. What I'll probably do is make a concoction where I just breathe in some silver vapours, and that should sort that one out. So yeah, I think long-term issues with loss is sometimes it doesn't always make sense, and you don't get the chance to do anything about it. It just happens, and that's a part of acceptance. You know, I met a lot of people this time of year, and partners have died and stuff. I'm quite amazed. There's a woman I've met, and she doesn't seem that. She hasn't been over affected by it really. I think it's the shock. She's just not taking it in, which is fine. If you've got that, you can kind of a blocker in your mind. That's pretty good. But so is her husband. So she was like with him 68 years, and you know, suddenly he's gone. But then he went in a way that he didn't really suffer. So it wasn't like she had to see a changed personality or in pain all the time or complaining and doing stuff like that. So yeah, it's just interesting. And it's trying to think of strategies, but there probably isn't. I think if you have a relationship breakdown, it's the greater the distance. But always leave on good terms. If you go on bad terms, then you base it as game over, really, isn't it? You know, if you fall out with someone in a nasty way, they might not like you, but at least you haven't created any unkindness. They might not like it because it's kind of what they call emotional blackmail or karma. It creates karma debt. So if you do something nice for somebody who doesn't like you, it starts to make them, either they think they've got one over on you, or they feel uncomfortable because they're not affecting you in a way they want to, or you know, if they're mean, or if or that they might have to act differently towards you and they don't want to. So you've created this kind of you're seeding something. So it's, in essence, it's a passive way of affecting someone. It's probably in a kind of feng shui. It's more like water, you know, because water can penetrate anything. It can be quite kind and it can be quite destructive, because enough of it in there will just basically rip this thing apart. So you don't really want to be a negative force whatever you do, and there's no real solution to it. Physically, you just want to back off and leave everything alone, otherwise you'll end up all messed up really. Sometimes you might just do something goodwill towards whatever cause, you know, if it helps in some way, makes you feel better, but it may have no direct effect on the person whatsoever, or whoever's involved, or whatever's happened to you, you know. Just feel better about yourself. So some other news. I have concerns for my sister. Basically, so it's kind of my research on MS, and she had an epidural in the back, so that's penetrated into her spine. So she had a child a month ago, but she started to have some problems with her nervous system, and she does have a history of some allergies towards things, and it's dairy and glutens. So she's in that area. Basically, the myelin sheets that cover your nerves are in proteins are similar to milk, or maybe milk proteins strap themselves to it, I don't know. But what happens is the immune system starts to turn on against itself a bit. Now, during a pregnancy, the immune system changes anyway. This is why there's probably an optimum period where you have to have children and when you don't have children. Depends on your health, really. And with an easy access point into a nervous system, it could likely create some situations. So I can't say she's got MS, only that the symptoms are touching upon MS, because the puncture would be in the lower back. So her immune system's probably entered into a body that way, or it's affected a nervous system. She's had possibly had something happen to her brain, so that's so like a seizure or something that was mentioned, because they did neurological scan. Now, what would cause damage to your brain if you injected something in your spine? It could be the pressure in the body and injecting it in there. And it has a pump mechanism to it that pumps to the brain your cerebral fluid. There's other issues like the fingers, tingling in the fingers. That's usually it's usually where there's shrinkage in the nerves from where they get damaged, they shrink and they sort of retract, and it's more difficult to get that signal across. So it creates a kind of phantom pain. So that's what it is. It's a receding nerve slightly. And that's also like damage, because you're very much like a plant in this nervous system. And then also, which would go the lower lumbar of the back, is basically spasms in the legs, or restless leg syndrome. And so it's concerning, but we'll see what it turns out. It does add to some of my research. I mean, if it does appear she's got that, I would probably suggest that she takes certain medicinal mushrooms. Lion's mane, that's meant to repair the myelin sheath, because you need to get in there early, otherwise if you leave it. But however, if there's an access to her spine, if there's a kind of wound there that's not healing properly, its vulnerability opens her immune system up, and as the immune system starts to stabilise, it will relearn this as a kind of behaviour, because it sort of went offline and now it's back online, but it's got some bugs in the system. So we'll just have to see what happens with that. I'll update you. I mean, I can't, obviously, if she comes across this video, it's not confirmation or anything. It's just airing concerns, and also making other people aware out there that are in the internet community about issues like that. Anything else? So I was having a thing this morning, and I believe possibly, why don't we use the moon? And it may be that there's some connection to do with dragons. That's what I was picking up on, of the dragon or something asleep in the moon. So it'd be interesting as a family of dragons in that kind of. But it's always fallen into legends about us being children of dragons, and from a dragon egg you have the emperor, Chinese emperor, you have rainbow dragons, you have all these other dragon connections. And the moon's just like a big rock and no one touches it. They say it's hollow, and there's also a lot of other beliefs out there, like your ancient alien, that it could be some draconian type Dracni or whatever beings up there, but they're winged beings, so they're definitely from the dragon family. And the other thing I come across as well was the solar system, and that the solar system was in another solar system, so it's a smaller, it's just on a ring of its own, so they're just all crossing around each other, so it's not really we go bang on about Planet X, but maybe they're different frequencies. We can't see them unless they come into contact with our sun, and it gives that frequency. There's a lot of things in the what we call the dark matter realm. So anything physically exists. So if something positive generated or electrically, there's also something that exists as a counterforce in this dark realm, like quantum realm, and it's there. It just doesn't have any manifestation on this realm. So there's always balance. The universe has constant balance, and you'll generate the reverse energy force in another universe, basically. The only problem is with enough force, maybe they could both connect or rip. There's always issues around nuclear bombs, so I don't know what they generate into in the quantum field, but it must just cause a massive shockwave, really. That's why it's of concern to certain beings, or beings that are actually in that frequency. Because if you're in a different field of frequency and something like that goes off, it may be much more destructive. At least we've got a physical body, and our body kind of is a shell or our own little universe. So as long as that doesn't get disrupted, we can kind of regenerate and reanimate. But if you're something where you're actually like most of it's data and a different type of energy density, taking a hit like that could actually cause a lot more damage. You know, it's like corrupting the data file, or it's like a DNA, like getting hit by well, it is radiation again. Yet again, disrupts our DNA, and then your body will start breaking down. You'll start becoming something different. Anything else in my mind that I can pump out? So I get back into my, I get myself back, my head back on my shoulders, and get myself back into the flow of things. I've got some projects I'm looking at. I might make a CBD organ, that pyramid. That'd be interesting, because I've got my, I got a hemp plant, but basically the hemp plants die. They only last about a year, and I think the best place to drive. And so yeah, so I've got this thing. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to probably make an ormus thing out of it. So cannabis mixed with ormus, and I've got the actual plant itself. So I've only just got the leaves. So I'm going to use the stalk of it, maybe look at the root system, possibly clean it up, dissolve it, add it to a powder, and you'll get all the benefits that you might normally get. And so that's probably the next couple of projects. But so I'm just at the moment with my extra work I'm doing. I'm put some money by for these sort of these projects to make things. Anyway, take care and have a great Christmas. I hope I haven't bored you with too much of my life's ups and downs, but I think it's also good to be honest, because at some level we all relate to different things, and I think with things like depression, it's like 1 in 10 or 1 something. Everyone at some point is going to have a down point, and then they're going to have the up points in their life as well. So yeah, anyway, take care and have a happy new year as well.